Hey, my name is Rory Blake Taylor, and at this moment in time I'm in the cannabis industry in South Africa. My journey in cannabis started many years ago as a young man, and it's been part of my life all the way through. And I've now managed to get into the industry and kind of be involved in helping to build the industry within a South African context in terms of trying to help develop all aspects from the grow side through to my main part that I'm interested in is the consumer end, solutions for consumers and dignification of the space for cannabis. It's a journey that began for me probably longer ago than the activation of it is. And what I mean by that is I've lived in an entire lifetime of being in a position where cannabis has been illegal, and people have been prosecuted for it, arrested for it, put in jail for it, and it's a travesty and it's a disgrace. And it's that travesty and disgrace that energized me and put me in a position where I really believe that I owe a debt of gratitude to what cannabis has been to me, for me in my life and for many other people. And somebody's got to stand up, and I want to be one of those people that helps to stand up and do the right thing for the future of cannabis, for the future of the choices of people when it comes to cannabis versus straight out alcohol. I think that there definitely needs to be a space where people can have that option. So my passion's been in that space for a while, having to almost live a life of denial because of how society felt about cannabis. And it's great to be free, and in this I'd really like to reach out to anybody that is a professional, that has a platform that you can speak off of, whether you're in the music industry, the news industry, it doesn't really matter. You hold a position within society. I ask you personally to stand up and be noted and stand up to help remove the stigmatization or remove the stigma that's attached to cannabis. The positives for me are always going to outweigh the negatives as a statement, and I think that's a state of mind and a willingness and an approach to business. So the positives for me have been that people have, unaided by government, gone about trying to create the cannabis industry and to find out how to float a cannabis industry, and it's been phenomenal to watch how it has spread. The level of energy that there is behind it, the fact that it's a 28 billion rand industry in South Africa says so much. There's this entire value chain that wants to be able to participate in a real world without there being a stigma attached to it, and to energize that to create the employment opportunities that extend to that. You know, we speak of the massive opportunities, and they are from ground level up, from being a person that wants to work in the field and plant seeds and grow cannabis, to somebody who wants to create beautiful end products like canna-gas. And there are a number of other options within the hemp industry, if you want to be away from the THC side of it. So the opportunities and the positives have been immense. It's been good to see people come together and organize massive events, whether they're at the Sandton Convention Centre or the Cape Town Convention Centre or in Bathurst or in Vilakazi Street. It doesn't really matter. The fact that people are out there and they're creating a platform, and these are pleasant, happy people that want to make a contribution to the future and to have something to participate in. And I'll flow straight from there into what the negatives have been. Is for me, there have been one or two situations where I think there's a heavy-handedness from a South African policing point of view. I think the horse is bolted, and people have got to understand that people aren't walking around in the cannabis industry trying to be criminals or trying to cause issues with the establishment. Not at all. It's a recognized industry. 35 states are in some form of deregulation or decriminalization. And there's so much that's happening in the industry. There's multi-billions of rands that are being spent on it. So to watch the South African police after the president has spoken twice in parliament and your local MEC has made statements of making Gauteng the hub. The horse has bolted. We've really got to get this communication through to the authorities to start supporting and aiding the process rather than going and being yesteryear aggressive against something that is, I think, a massive opportunity for the country. And I appeal to the fact that there must be people within the police force, because there are cannabis users across every spectrum of society. So to you, the person in blue that is responsible for helping move us forward, get out of the space of cannabis, help to advance the cannabis space, not get into a position where you're helping to create criminals out of this. The time for that has passed. You must be the barrier, the baton carriers as we move forward and make space for these persons that are trying to create employment. 33% unemployment in our country. 1 in 2 adults are unemployed, or young adults are unemployed. This is a space that needs to deliver more, and people need to step out of the way and or support by being in the way. Gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you. It's lekker to being able to make this extend over the 2 weeks. I know there's a lot of people are looking forward to catching this episode. And I'm going to jump straight into it. An important thing for me moving forward in the industry is, do you think we're any closer to a solution from the government in terms of an acceptable, workable policy around recreational THC use?
Yesterday we had a very, very interesting interview with Simon, and it just so happened that he was busy watching the live
response, the public response on the privacy bill. So, which is something that's continuing right now. But sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's cool. That's cool. The interesting thing about this is you get a very similar, a universal narrative that is going on amongst all the shareholders that are contributing towards this conversation, which is mostly our rural farmers, which is being excluded. Mm-hmm. It is the fact that the Drug Trafficking Act, which is still based on 1928 FUTSAC laws, which should be amended. And now, for us, it's very difficult to say, because only time will tell. It's a matter of, are they going to take these contributions and make the necessary amendments to the bill, or are they going to leave it in the hands of big canna, of the big corporates? So it's very difficult for us to say at the moment whether we are making progression in terms of policies and laws. But if you look on a ground level, on the community basis, you can really see there is massive advancement. As we just said, all these clubs are thriving and moving forward. They're actively contributing towards this. And
so, yes, I do think we're moving in the right direction. There is, we definitely are getting closer to a solution, but there's a long, long way to go still. Right now, as it is, clubs are being allowed to operate, which is a beautiful thing. It's feeding a lot of people and bringing food, just supporting a lot of families and stuff. But there's a lot of exclusion still when it comes to rural communities and things like that. We haven't quite figured out how to really involve all these people, and that's super detrimental to the whole picture. One thing I can say is that from government, just from what I can tell with the response of the public to the privacy bill, government's asking the right questions. They want to know exactly where the issues are. They want to figure this thing out. They're not just turning their back on this thing, and they want to actually get to the bottom of it. And they got really, really clever, smart, strong people now looking into this thing and trying to get a resolution. Yes. For this whole situation. So that's a really good thing. We are, however, still very far away from this is the way to do it. Like I said, a lot of people are still being excluded due to boundaries, not boundaries, but
legal boundaries. Yes,
legal boundaries, and then it's expensive. You know, you have to have a lot of stuff in line just to be able to do it. So there's financial boundaries.
Just a small example here for we all know about the tallest hempcrete building that's been built in Cape Town. Now, for example, the hemp bricks that the biomass that they use to build those bricks gets imported all the way from Europe.
From Europe,
where we have, I think it's
so these people are paying euros for this stuff, and then importing it, spending hundreds of thousands of rands on diesel and getting it here and all this stuff, like just toxicating the whole planet in the process.
Taking our money, putting it outwards,
shipping it out of the country, and then like you were about to say.
And we have these farmers, or legacy farmers, up in the Transkei Mountains that have been working with this incredible. The Umzimvubu Farmers Network did research on what their yield is per square meter, and they were astonished by the results. We've got tons and tons and tons of biomass which is produced locally, but it never gets used. They just put it on piles and burn it because it's illegal for them to get it into the local market. So it's
the numbers.
that.
I could be a little bit wrong, but the numbers are something like 600 tons per family that gets produced, and there's 20,000 of these producing families. So there is tons, megatons of biomass just sitting there that is not being used. And these are some of our poorest people that we're shipping out our rands to Europe and buying in a weaker quality product than what they're growing in the Transkei, because it's like one of the features of this exact strain that they work with is it's got super strong stalks.
Yes.
So it's the best for making biomass. So we're shipping out all that money when we could be helping our own poor people in Pondoland
and saving money.
Saving money in the process, using our own products that we're creating right here. Yeah, it's just a crazy situation. So there's still a long way to go in those kind of terms.
But as Harry says, these things are actively being addressed, and it's as if the people in the right positions, the policy makers and the lawmakers, folks from the ANC and all the top politicians, they are actively taking the time to take note of these submissions and these concerns of the cannabis community. So in that regard, there is definitely hope. And
there's definitely hope, and a solution is coming closer and closer and closer.
Some very valid points there. And for me, where I want to go straight to is where you speak about, the building in Cape Town and the hempcrete, etc., etc. And I completely fit into that space. I think that part of the delay in terms of providing a solution for us is going to cause these situations where we're going to end up importing things that could be being made locally, to fall into that same trap of yesteryear where we take an ingot of steel and send it across the world, at 100 Rand for an ingot, and then buy it back at 1,000 Rand for a pot. That's the, pardon the pot part, but that's the space that we're talking about. Is there's such a loss in terms of the fact that there's people that have got licensed facilities. COVID came along, some weren't be able to follow through or deliver against their offtake agreements, or offtake agreements fell through. That stuff's supposed to be taken and destroyed. Why are we doing that? Why are we not finding solutions? So I totally buy what you're saying there, and I think the value add end is something that we've got to get into straight away, because that's the value end that's going to help change many lives, not few lives. Not leave us in a space where we just cultivate cannabis, but that we process cannabis, we process hemp. So it's a fantastic point. And I just want to move on to the next question, or the next compliment in actual fact. A really big congratulations to you on the 1,000 subscribers mark on your YouTube channel. We look forward to that one day, and it's a long way off, but congrats to you for doing that. And then just to ask you for a couple of tips for anybody who would be in the startup space for a podcaster, and I think especially for me, talk to us about the concept of consistency.
Well,
This is your category.
the last word you mentioned there, that's the critical, most important factor, is consistency. So if you want to make a success on any social platform, the main thing is to be consistent, to not put out a video now and wait a couple of months and do it again. Work with a plan. Like I see you guys do every Friday, religiously you put out your podcast, and people get used to that. The algorithm picks that up and automatically your channel starts growing. And don't get disheartened if you do that and within the first year you don't get results. Stay consistent and keep on pushing good content. And another very principle that we follow is we don't believe in any negative context or to break down or to create drama in this space. We use this platform to uplift the community, to spread a positive message. If it doesn't uplift and it doesn't empower the community, then we rather keep our hands off of it. And that way, there's a simple saying is like, you attract what you are, or who character said.
You attract what you put out.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
So, and that's a very, very important thing, because there's so much, there is conflict within the cannabis space. And we don't want to exacerbate this conflict. We want to annihilate the conflict, and we all have to work together to do this. So that's why we take it very seriously when Bertie says we don't put out any negative we go as far as we possibly can to avoid it at all costs. That's just all I can say on that front. But for the most part is don't give up, keep on pushing, and don't get disheartened. I mean, sometimes even for us, it's really hard. You go to these places and there's not really, you have to improvise and do things, and then sometimes you don't get the response that you were expecting. Sometimes it's a really negative response. So don't get sucked into the negativity, and just keep on pushing, guys.
And lastly, also very importantly, stay true to yourself. So there's hundreds of channels out there. If you want to be like someone else or copy something, you're just going to be another channel like that one. Be yourself and be true to yourself, keep it real, as Harry said. Just be natural, be yourself, and people will be naturally attracted to that if you're doing the right thing.
So there you go. Consistency, you got to just keep at it. You've got to make sure that you stay out of the politics. I think any industry or any podcasting space is going to have its political environments. Try and avoid that stuff. As it gets pointed out, let's annihilate the negativity. Let's try to unify and utilize this opportunity. So thank you for those wise words. And then I just want one last one from the two of you. Have you got any message that you'd like to put out as a last comment to the cannabis industry, please?
Right off the top of my head, what I can think about right now is, guys, just well done everybody for creating this space. It's only been the last five years that we've all been able to maneuver and do all these things, and you've literally seen complete industries in multiple cities and towns and everywhere right over South Africa pop up overnight, virtually overnight. I know it didn't really happen overnight. A lot of people put in many, many hours to make these things happen. But all I want to say is well done, everybody. And the cannabis community is really something that is exciting. It's powerful. It's strong. It's the best. In my opinion, it's the most exciting thing that we'll be able to be a part of in our lifetimes, is this massive change that's happening. So everybody just keep on pushing, keep on being there, keep on going with this thing. And I love you guys, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. From my side, it's we've iterated this a lot before as well, but guys, we are super, super blessed to be alive during these times. This has been a battle that's been going on for many, many years, and it's only such a small fraction of time where we've been prohibited to utilize the full potential of this plant. But we are now on the verge of greatness where we are getting that power back, you know, and we can only do this if we work together. So yeah, but we should make use of this opportunity to discover your talents, do the best what you can, and get involved in communities where everyone can work together towards the same goal. And together we can make this happen. We're gonna make this happen.
Yeah, something that I would just like for people to just also think about is just like we can always talk to each other, you know. If we can come together and we can speak to each other, we can always find resolutions for problems that we have amongst each other. The moment that people stop talking to each other, there's no communication and people float apart, and then that's when things really get sideways. We've been speaking to a lot of international people, and what they all say is that the cannabis community got spoiled. You know, it's not what it used to be in those countries that first legalized it. So, in my opinion, if we want to preserve our special community that we have to speak to each other. We have to be honest and open, and we have to be willing to hear each other. But yeah, other than that, it's all positive, man. It's a beautiful space, and it's really cool, and it's a privilege to even be a part of it. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you. I'd just like to take this final opportunity once again to extend our gratitude towards Mash and Rory and the team over at 420 Central for giving us this opportunity. This is a first for us. Usually we're always on the other side of the lens and the ones asking questions. So it posed a welcoming challenge it's interesting to feel from this side of the perspective what it's like to have to answer these type of questions and to also to have the opportunity to have our voices heard as well. So yeah, massive thanks for that.
Yeah, massive thanks to that, guys. We do appreciate it a lot, and yeah, like I said, hopefully we see you guys in person soon. We have to make a plan. Either we can visit you guys that side, or you guys can visit us this side, but we have to get together.
Well, thank you both very much for your contribution. It's been super to have you as part of our show. We look forward to you coming up here as mentioned. And we'll see you on the smoky side of the lens. Ciao for now.